Anyway, let's talk about the only good news in England at the moment, and that is the Cardiff Devils have hired a new head coach. The Devils confirm the hiring of, now I'm going to say his name, correct me if I'm wrong here, Chris, because you did give me the pronunciation. It's Jarrod Skalde. Is that it?
Skalde.
Skalde?
Skalde.
Okay, so it's Jarrod Skalde as the new head coach.
That's what Aaron Murphy called him earlier when I watched the interview. So
okay, so if we get it wrong, it's Aaron Murphy's fault. Wonderful. So Aaron Skalde, new head coach. The Cardiff Devils are pleased to confirm Jarrod Skalde as the new head coach and director of hockey operations, obviously taking over after Andrew Lord. Skalde joins the Devils after spending the past 2 seasons in the American Hockey League behind the bench as an assistant coach of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, obviously the Pittsburgh Penguins affiliate, and prior to that he was a skills development coach with the Pittsburgh Penguins throughout the 2017-18 season, so he's had experience being a development coach in the best league in the world. That's pretty impressive. Before joining the Penguins organisation, he was a head coach of the Guelph Storm in the Ontario Hockey League for 2 seasons, and he worked with the Team Canada Under-18 team. He started as a head coach with the Bloomington Prairie Thunder in the EIHL before taking over as head coach and director of hockey operations for the Cincinnati Cyclones of the East Coast Hockey League. So he's been in the OHL, he's been in the ECHL, he's been in the AHL, he's been in the NHL, he's been with the Norfolk Admirals as the head coach. He was a 26th overall pick of his draft class in 1989 by the New Jersey Devils and played 115 games for 8 different teams, including the Devils, the Ducks, the Flames, the Sharks, the Stars, the Blackhawks, the Flyers, and last but certainly not least, the Atlanta Thrashers. Well, last and probably least, the Atlanta Thrashers, let's be honest. And he played a total of 500...
No, he had one game. He had one game for the Flyers after he'd been at the Thrashers.
Oh, really? Okay, fair enough. But still certainly least the Atlanta Thrashers. Skalde played a total of 575 games in the AHL over 11 years, before spending his final 3 years playing in Europe and Asia. Over his playing career, he won a Memorial Cup, an IHL Turner Cup title, and a Slovenian championship in his final year as a pro. So, Chris, Skalde, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he said, yes, he won a Slovenian championship. He only played 3 games in that season.
But, fair enough.
You know, 3 games in the regular season and 5 games in the playoffs. But
he played a playoff game. He gets his name on the trophy, Chris.
Well, that is very true. Yeah, that is very true. I mean, he's certainly well travelled.
Yes.
As we've seen from his player profile, and he's also been around several teams in a coaching role. So he's going to have some good contacts. Particularly in this season where he's almost got to build a team from scratch because all the players are going off to play in Europe.
Yep.
But as we keep being told by the Steelers, by the Devils, and by Neil Black from the Panthers and the Clan as well, that just because the players who got to the Mint have gone, there is still a massive pool of decent hockey players that we can use to find teams if we need to, because it's looking appalling at the minute.
Yes, and also it is important to mention that a lot of these players are on multi-year contracts, so they might be contractually obliged to play next season if that's around. So just because all the players have left overseas doesn't mean that they're not either contracted to come back or not willing to come back. Now, will that be the case this time next year? I guess we'll have to wait and find out, you know?
Yeah. So it seems promising.
Yes.
I mean, he's been above 500 in the recorded seasons for the Cincinnati Cyclones. But you know, he's certainly seen plenty of players in his time. I do feel, from looking on the general consensus, is that the Devils have replaced a very good head coach with another very good head coach. So I think he's going to do a really good job down in Cardiff. And I would say, hopefully, it will allow them to get more championships. But I don't really want them to get more championships because I want the Panthers to. But I like to see a really competitive elite league. So I do hope he puts a competitive squad together. And once he experiences what the atmosphere is like down in South Wales, having experienced it myself for 3 years, he will, I think, fit in really quite quickly and find himself at home. In Wales. I just hope he's packed an umbrella.
Yes, especially in somewhere like Wales, where, I mean, pretty much the entire country, if you haven't packed an umbrella or a raincoat, you're kind of screwed, really. So
I got soaked walking to a Devils game one time because I was going over the big bridge near the bay, and it started raining and hailstones and all the rest of it. And then I tried to arrange a group with my uni course to go the year after, And I said, oh, yeah, it's only about a half hour, 40-minute walk. And somebody said, well, why don't you just take the train? It's like 5 minutes. I was like, oh. So, yeah.
See, the only reservation I have with a guy like, what was it, Skalde? Was it Skalde? Skalde. I'm going to forget that
Jarrod
a million
Skalde.
times before the season starts. I need to hear Aaron Murphy say it a few more times. So, first off, if he's made his way to the Elite League, he's not on the up. Let's make that abundantly clear. He's obviously not the guy. He's obviously not in the hunt for a head coaching job in the NHL. He's obviously not going to be a head coach in the AHL. He's obviously not got a gig lined up elsewhere in Europe. That's no knock on him. That's just saying that currently at this moment in time, he's not high up anybody's list in terms of top head coaches in the coaching world. So if you're expecting him to be an NHL caliber head coach, don't. Please don't. You're setting your expectations way too high. The only other thing that kind of gives me cause for concern, which I don't think it will affect them too much, is the fact that all of his coaching has been done in North America. There's no experience with him having coached as a legitimate head coach, not like a player coach or anything like that, a legitimate head coach of a team in Europe. Will that have an effect on how he tries to coach this team? Because we have seen, Chris, guys that have come over from North America, from the coaching ranks over there, and they just don't make the adjustment. Obviously, it's far too early to tell with Skalde. Let's give him a chance before we kind of say whether he's been good or a failure or not. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is just don't. You see all of those leagues that he's played in and coached and the success that he's had. Obviously, as Devils fans, you're going to get really excited and think, we've got ourselves the best coach in the league already. First of all, he hasn't coached a game yet, so hold your horses. Let's see how he does. He comes with a very impressive resume and a very strong pedigree of success. However, we need to see if it translates to the European game, to the Elite League game, because we've seen coaches come from North America that haven't translated to the Elite League game. We've also seen coaches come from elsewhere in Europe that haven't translated to the British Elite League game. So, well, what are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, but he's got a lot of time to bring the people in he wants.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I like the fact that he was a development coach.
Yes.
At the Penguins in the NHL, so he's used to this develop role of making players better,
especially young guys.
Yeah, particularly young guys. And I think there may well be a lot of emphasis on young guys when the Elite League comes back.
Yeah, maybe.
Particularly if international travel restrictions, that sort of thing, does not make it as easy. There may well be an emphasis on younger guys and potentially two-way contracts. So I like that. And I think the Devils have made a good move. Obviously, yes, as you said, he wasn't high up on anybody's list, but I don't know at the moment how many teams are actually recruiting for coaches.
Yeah, true.
I'm not aware of other teams that are actively coach recruiting. So
because you could make the argument that a lot of the North American leagues, they're not really sure what's happening yet, given the fact that America is all over the place when it comes to the coronavirus. So the AHL, we're not entirely sure what's going on there. The NHL might be pushed back. The ECHL, there's going to be a lot of confusion in that area. So you could say, oh, well, he's moved over until, something comes up in North America. However, Cardiff hasn't got anything coming up either anytime soon. So that I kind of feel like that counteracts that argument, because by the time Skalde is ready to head coach the Cardiff Devils, the gigs will likely have started in North America also. So if he wanted to stay or he had the opportunity to stay, he probably would have done, because it's the same kind of scenario.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think on the whole, I think Cardiff have made a good signing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We'll see, obviously, when the season starts, if the season starts, kind of what his team plays like.
Yeah.
Is he going to try and play his own style, or is he going to try and play the Elite League way, and try and pick points up and use the players he has? And he hasn't got any player or coaching experience of this league, so he's going to be relying a lot on watching tapes and what people tell him about the league. So it might take him a bit to get into, but should be a good signing. And hopefully the Devils will be strong again. Just not too strong.
Well, the good thing is he's got plenty of time to watch game tape. He's got till
Oh,
next
yeah.
season. So
Yeah.
you know, buckle down, watch every single game from last year if you really want to, Skaldy. Obviously, I have my reservations, but that's just kind of trying to temper expectations. I think this is a great signing for the Devils. I think this is a guy that comes with a certain pedigree, a certain resume, both as a player and as a coach. He knows how to be a professional hockey player and he knows how to be a professional hockey coach. I think signings like these, as we've seen in the past, they only make the Elite League better and give us more legitimacy as a league in Europe. So I am more than happy to see a guy like Jarrod Skalde join the league. And like you say, let's hope he does well, but not too well. Okay.